She's not a real pope.
She's not a real person.
Pope Francis! What show is he on? Jesus.
Hey, why is the Pope here?
Whoa, you did come back. Add that to another school shooting, another earthquake, and that nightclub roof collapse. I thought at the club you're supposed to raise the
Stop talking.
It's just crisis after crisis. We need to fix this.
What?
You know who could fix this?
Who?
Olivia Pope. I'm just saying.
Me, help me.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Thank you for joining me here for Conversations with Taz. You know, there's so much going on, and yes, I'm going to try to touch on as much of it as possible as we can possibly get in today. So let's start off by coming from investors.com. Dow Jones futures jump on Trump's China. Powell comments. Elon Musk bullish as Tesla earnings tumble. Now, before we get deep into this article, let's keep in mind that yes, the Dow closed up 2.66%. But unless there's some swift turnabout, the Dow is on pace to have its worst April, specifically April, since 1932. But like I said, let's get into it. Dow Jones futures jumped overnight along with S&P 500 futures and NASDAQ futures as President Donald Trump said China tariffs will come down substantially. Tesla rose despite plunging earnings, with CEO Elon Musk bullish on a conference call. The stock market had a strong gain Tuesday, aided by hopeful comments from Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent about de-escalating the U.S.-China trade war. Netflix, Spotify, Mercado Libre, ADMA Biologics, Sprouts Farmers Market, and many others are close to buy areas. Investors should take notice but move into the market gradually. Netflix stock and Spotify are on the IBD leaderboard watch list. ADMA stock and Netflix are on the IBD 50. Sprouts stocks and Netflix are on the IBD Big Cap 20. Netflix was Tuesday's IBD stock of the day. Now, part of the reason why things are starting to look good and look up is because Trump, yet again, is cowering, honestly, as he should, because he keeps starting these fires. So he might as well be the one to throw his body on top of it to put them out. So Trump won't play hardball with China and won't fire Powell. First of all, he can't fire Powell. And Powell's term is up next year. That's why he keeps saying, he can't get terminated fast enough. He knows he can't terminate him. And he originally asked him to take on the position. But, Trump lies so much he can't even remember who he's supposed to like and who he's not supposed to like. But, I guess that comes with the territory. So, late Tuesday, President Trump told reporters that China's tariffs will come down substantially but won't be zero. Trump also said he wouldn't play hardball with China. The comments were the latest signal that the U.S.-China trade war will cool down and perhaps that Trump was backing off further. Yeah, I know Trump likes to do all these grand gestures and have all these press conferences acting as if China is cowering to him. Yeah, see, this is the beauty of having access to global media and the World Wide Web, where you can talk to people who are getting news in real time. China has been fact-checking Trump in real time every step of the way. China has been reminding Trump that the rest of the globe can completely eliminate the United States from the global market. We're not important. Okay. Trump thought that we were the belle of the ball. Okay. He thought that we were the prom king and queen, and we're not even the court jester. So Trump also said he has no intention of firing Fed Chief Jerome Powell. The president had signaled his extreme displeasure with Powell in recent days, calling him a loser and implying he was thinking about firing him. Once again, he can't. And the reason why Trump was calling him a loser is because he wanted Jerome Powell to decrease interest rates in order to save our economy. Trump knows that he's fucked up. He's finally kind of, sort of, and a little bit listening to his advisors because he's looking at the world not do what he thought the world was going to do when he started tossing about tariffs. He thought that he was going to crumble everybody's else's economies, and he's just crumbling ours. But what do you expect from somebody who filed 6 bankruptcies, bankrupted an entire city, and couldn't keep a casino together? Where the whole business plan is the House wins. Let's continue. On Tuesday morning, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent reportedly told a closed-door investor summit that U.S.-China tariffs are unsustainable and he expects them to de-escalate. But he also said China trade talks haven't even begun. The U.S. has imposed tariffs of at least 145% on Chinese goods, though the Apple, iPhone, PCs, servers, and electronics are temporarily only facing 20% tariffs. Beijing has slapped a 125% tariff on U.S. goods coming into China. And on top of that, the Chinese renegotiated a deal regarding the oil that they used to purchase from us and decided to purchase it majoritively from Canada. Trump negotiators are close to memorandums of understanding with India and Japan. Politico reported, citing sources, but actual trade deals may be months away. And that's also something I need people to keep in mind. Trump likes to double talk and act as if, because he lives as if real life is a TV show. And a lot of people think that they are masters of something because of their favorite TV show. And they take these TV shows as if they're true blue documentaries where they're just splicing together actual footage. They are not. Just because Trump said in January, hey, I'm going to implement these tariffs if you don't build in the United States. And then he turns around and goes, well, you see, such and such is going to build a plant here. No, these things take a while. They're in the works for a while. And there's no way for anybody to negotiate anything right now, at least not in earnest, with the way Trump is teetering with these tariffs. Nobody knows what to put down on a freaking contract, let alone how to price anything properly. And in the meantime, in between time, people are losing employees because of his deportation practices. There, all sorts of things. And people are losing businesses because of government agencies that he's shutting down and lying to the United States public about. I've said it before. Let me say it again. I love that people want to get involved in politics because politics affect all of us. But learn how things go. Do not just listen to somebody on the internet, myself included. Do not just listen to taglines. Do not just read headlines. Actually look into what things are. Even when I do breakdowns for you all, like I always say, I am the starting point for your own research. And research in your own time and in your own way. You know what day you might have an extra 20 minutes, 30 minutes, hour, however much you want to spend a week or a day in learning how things go. But please take the time to do that. Now, Byron Donalds had a tumultuous town hall. He has thrown his hat in the gubernatorial race down in Florida. And yes, I know Ron DeSantis wants his wife to take over, and it's given me very much Governor Bull, because there's some states, you can run once and then you can't run again, and then you can run again after that, and then sometimes you can run twice and then you can't run. Then there has to be an election, and there's been a long-standing history of especially racist white men forcing their wives into positions as a placeholder and as a way for them to still rule the land by proxy. And see, people are like, oh, he just wants her there to uphold his legacy. No, he wants to continue to rule, but he wants to do it and make it seem like she's the one in control. And see, there have been times where it has been detrimental. Women have, because keep in mind, there was a point in time in United States history where A doctor would talk to the husband and not the wife. There was one woman, one of the first women elected governor of a state in the United States, that died of cancer, who did not know until the last moment that she had cancer because her husband never told her, because he wanted her to stay in office so he could run and rule the land. And he neglected their children. And when she died, he was like, oh, on to the next, and just moved on. Like he didn't have a family before, because the most important thing is being in control and being the biggest racist ever. But Byron Donalds had a town hall. It started off okay. And then, as always, with all these Kuntastic Coalition members, their tokens, they know they're going to be spent, but there comes a point in time where their blackness, where their melanatedness kicks in. Because there was a moment where Byron Donalds, and I have a video posted, it's on this platform and on TikTok, where he was getting upset, like, oh, don't tell me as a black man about this, that, and the other. You haven't presented yourself as a black man. Yes, phenotypically. Yes, complexion-wise. Yes, you are a black man, but what comes out of your mouth and how you move through the world, no. No, when you're sitting there talking about DEI and saying, being valid for once, and people are giving you pushback because they're like, oh, that ain't what you've been telling me. You can't get upset. You know that you're choosing to stand on the wrong side of history and tap dance. You don't get to sporadically tell the truth. You have to uphold the bullshit. So you have to not really accomplish anything, because you have to tell these people, well, yeah, the only reason I'm up here is because I'm black, and they want it to look diverse for the party, so I'm not really qualified, but they're going to endorse me so we can look more diverse. Like, because this is the bullshit that you have been pushing, and y'all don't realize how it's going to affect you. You think that you're going to point the finger at and call all these other black people unqualified and say that they got there because of this, that, and the other. Baby, you forgot we're all in the same damn arena. It's no different than women who happen to be in politics, hooting and hollering, talking about women should be in the household and shouldn't have a job. Excuse me, Miss Mamas. Start with yourself. But when you're a mouthpiece for bullshit, you don't think logically. You don't think rationally. You just think, where's my next endorsement going to come from? Where's my next soundbite going to come from? Because they love me so much. And Byron Donalds really needs to learn. They will put his name up for anything. Anything. But they're not going to truly back him. They're not going to vote for him. They're not going to give him the true support. They'll just toss his name out as a distraction. So I want to know who MAGA's actual candidate is for Florida's gubernatorial race. I really, really do. I really do. Now, I know the big story of the evening is Signalgate 2.0, and trust me, we are going to get there. We are going to get there, but we got to get through everything else first. Gotta get through it. And actually, there's a couple things we need to talk about regarding RFK Jr., but before we get to that, let's discuss this. Coming from Mediaite, Marjorie Taylor Greene declares evil is being defeated by the hand of God in apparent celebration of Pope Francis's death. If you're shocked by this, I don't know what to tell you. I honestly and truly don't know what to tell you. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, Republican out of Georgia, declared that evil is being defeated by the hand of God on Monday morning in an apparent celebration of the death of Pope Francis on Monday morning. The 88-year-old pontiff passed away at his residence early Monday morning after a bevy of recent health struggles. Dearest brothers and sisters, with deep sorrow, I must announce the death of our Holy Father Francis. At 7:35 this morning, the Bishop of Rome, Francis, returned to the house of the Father. His entire life was dedicated to the service of the Lord and of his church, said the Vatican in a statement. He taught us to live the values of the gospel with fidelity, courage, and universal love, especially in favor of the poorest and most marginalized. With immense gratitude for his example as a true disciple of the Lord Jesus, we commend the soul of Pope Francis to the infinite merciful love of the one and triune God. Both President Donald Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance, the latter of whom met with Francis on Easter Sunday, 4 hours before the Pope decided it was time to go to the upper room. Just putting that out there. Do with that information what you will. Issued statements mourning the late Pope, with Vance observing that he was happy to have seen him yesterday. Well, evidently he wasn't happy to see you, JD. Because he told you wasn't a true Christian. And he didn't smile like he smiled when he see other people. He died. And Trump ordering that American flags on public grounds be flown at half-staff as a mark of respect for the memory of His Holiness Pope Francis, but you wanted them lifted when Jimmy Earl passed away. For those of y'all that don't know who Jimmy Earl is, President Carter. But Trump, Mr. said on camera that he was not a Christian, is now playing up to the Christians. Who else did that? Who else did that and had a military prison and had concentration camps not in their country? But Green, who has been counted as one of Trump's most steadfast allies in the House of Representatives, appears to hold another view. Today, there was a major shift in global leaderships, she observes obliquely in a post on X. Evil is being defeated by the hand of God. Today, there were major shifts in global leaderships. The apparent meeting was not lost on observers. Did not have, thank God the Pope is finally dead. Evil has been vanquished on my bingo card of reaction, but MTG always aims to grab the headlines, mused National Review's Jeff Blahar. How despicable of a person do you have to be? Now, I'm not saying that every religious leader is a saint or is without sin. Absolutely not. Y'all can keep praising Mahatma Gandhi all you want. That racist, bigoted, misogynistic pedophile can rot wherever the fuck he is. Y'all can still choose to love Mother Teresa. That grifting, swindling, sadistic bitch can rot wherever she is. Not saying that. But I will say, for his credit, Pope Francis, to the best of his ability, did live the life that he preached about. Got to give credit where credit is due. Now, do I believe he made some missteps here and there with some views that he had? Absolutely. And given the life that he lived and the people that he was around before making it to the Vatican, I would have loved to have questioned him as to why he still held on to some views. But overall, good person. I wouldn't have said, oh, he's evil, he needs to be vanquished. Like, no, but projection is the name of the game. Projection is the name of the game. And if you're not willing to weaponize any and every type of ideology possible for the sake of racism, they don't care. They're going to be like, yeah, the house fell on the wicked witch. They don't care. Like, Marjorie Taylor Greene doesn't even have enough coof to fake it. Because we know JD and Trump are faking it with their condolences and their mourning, but she won't even fake it. And this is why she's not a member of his cabinet. She wasn't during the first administration. She's not a part of any as much butt kissing, boot licking, and glizzy guzzling as she does for Trump. She doesn't have a position because she didn't even wait. She didn't even wait to even see what lead she should have taken from him at all. She just ran with it. So more reactions, because keep in mind, her response was, today there were major shifts in global leadership. Evil is being defeated by the hand of God. right after we found out that Pope Francis passed away. I'm laughing uncomfortably, not because I'm in agreement with her. But another reaction was, if you are here, who is running hell? Inquired Representative Jared Moskowitz, Democrat out of Florida facetiously. Francis is often criticized by conservatives for his views on a wide variety of topics, although he maintained traditional Catholic views on many issues, including abortion. Because Francis did say, what's the point of getting a pet? You shouldn't get a pet and make some babies. Like, sir, absolutely not. But the fact that he was like, you know what, who am I to tell you who to love? Who am I to tell you what's right or wrong? If God said we all made in his image, then hey, this is his image. We good. We cool on that. But that is Marjorie Taylor Greene for you. She doesn't know how to be anything but a biatch. Now, I have an article regarding RFK Jr. because no, he has not given up on his whole war on autism. And there is word on the curb that he's trying to put together basically like a surveillance list of autistic people in the United States. Good luck with that. The way they're cutting the budget and cutting the manpower, they're putting together all these lists and all these task force to go out and get them. They're not going to be able to got us because there's not going to be enough people to do it. Whatever. But we know about the brainworm. We know about the heroin use. We know about the liking to chomp on dead, uncooked animals. We know about all of that. But did you know about the mercury poisoning? Did you? I didn't either. Take a look, and then we'll dig into some more with why he has a problem with autism.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. got mercury poisoning from eating too many tuna sandwiches. Back in 2010, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was having problems finding words and putting sentences together. He just couldn't find the words to say what he needed to say. So he went and saw his doctor, and his doctor is, guess who? The same doctor that worked on JFK. Because when you like something, you don't change. So they did a brain scan on RFK Jr. and found out that he did have a brainworm. Brainworms do cause brain fog. They can cause all sorts of other things. During the conversation, it was mentioned that mercury can also do these things and can affect the brain. And RFK Jr. decided to tell his doctor that he has been eating so much tuna and other predatory fish that they had to do a blood test. Blood test comes back, and the results, RFK Jr. has 10 times the amount of mercury in his blood than should be there. And so they have to go through the detox system of getting mercury out of your blood and your body, which is a totally different process because it takes a long time for mercury to get out of your body once you have high doses of it.
Mm-hmm. And he's been put in charge, yeah. Before we go any further, I just want to point out, and I wrote about this more extensively over on Substack, but I want to point out that this current administration is precisely what they feared a melanated administration would look like. They were afraid. This is why they were like, oh, get rid of the DIA, get rid of the DIA. We can't have it. They'll bring us down. They're the reason why stuff wasn't working well. Problem is there's a component that these Kool-Aid guzzlers forgot. You need to have members of the global majority on staff so you have someone to steal the credit from. You got to have somebody to steal credit from. Y'all know that you're not qualified. Like I said, there's more regarding RFK Jr. And I want you, before we go into this, I want you to put this in your mind before I go into this article, okay? RFK Jr. has had a long-standing fear, rational, in my opinion, of polio and reservations regarding the polio vaccine. If you don't understand why he has reservations, Google him, look how old he is, and you'll understand. And if you don't know anything about the Kennedy family, I suggest you look at the Kennedy family. And I'm not talking about the sex scandals. I'm talking about things that have to do with their health and well-being, especially women that are closely genetically linked to RFK Jr. Okay. It's just too much to get into right now. His gripe is actually with polio. When you hear him talk about autism, he's talking about poorly vaccinated or non-vaccinated, untreated polio. And you can look up what happens to the human body, and that's what he's talking about. That's what his beef is about. But I think deep down, he realizes if he rants and raves about polio in 2025, nobody's going to take him seriously. Newsflash, we ain't taking you seriously now. We know that you are grifting people who are going to take you as an authority because your last name is Kennedy. That's it. But I want you to keep in mind, one, RFK Jr. is in denial about his own autism and a few women in his family being autistic. I'm telling you, go look at it. And his fear of polio to this day. So, coming from people.com, RFK Jr. says autism rates have bigger impact than COVID because COVID killed old people. This is a man who thinks that only children suffer from autism because he's like, oh, they'll never do this, they never do that. But he never talks about autistic people like myself being adults. It's like, oh, they're like this as children, and then it just goes away. It's weird. This is why I say he's focused on polio, because when you hear stories of polio, you don't think about children who went on to be adults. And we have adults who have survived polio still walking amongst us. And I know we collectively don't like him, but he is a prime example. Mitch the glitchy bitch McConnell. It dwarfs the COVID epidemic, the Secretary of Health and Human Services said during an April 20th radio appearance. I'm going to need all of these people to stop making appearances and get the fuck to work. Because they have a learning curve and a training curve that, woohoo, no, all right? Come on. And MAGA, y'all said that they were going to be on the job training and they could learn it quickly. How the fuck they going to learn it if they ain't showing up to work? Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the U.S. Health and Human Services Secretary, is claiming that the impact of autism exceeds the impact of COVID-19 on American lives during a new interview. Speaking about autism on the Cats Roundtable, the irony, because I thought MAGA was anti-cats and cat ladies. Speaking about autism on the Cats Roundtable show on WABC 77 AM on Sunday, April 20th, Kennedy said, it dwarfs the COVID epidemic and the impacts on our country because COVID killed old people. Autism affects children and affects them at the beginning of their lives, the beginning of their productivity. Anybody want to tell him that there were children born? Anybody want to tell him that there were children that died, that there are children who now have long COVID? And that there are autistic adults? And the biggest hindrance is bullshit fallacies like this that delay people's diagnosis. And the fact that there isn't proper testing along racial and ethnicity lines. And it's absolutely debilitating for them, their families, their communities, and for our country. Just the pure economic cost of autism, he said. This is the thing. They want to be able to make money off of everybody because they only see you as the product or service producers, as if there's a whole nother crop of human beings that comes in and is the consumers. This is why, are you now starting to get why in restaurants and retail establishments and even at the airport, you hear people speaking to other people and even online when they're talking about certain things as if these people don't work or that they don't have real jobs? Like, the delusion is real. Like, where's this economic burden? Because in his mind, he's thinking of the ramifications of untreated polio. It's absolutely debilitating. No, it's not. He also claimed that autism will eventually cost the economy $1 trillion per year by 2035, though he did not cite where he got the figure. I can tell you where he got the figure, at the crack of his motherfucking ass. Okay? This man who drove around with a bear carcass all day and then dumped it in Central Park, pulled that shit out the crack of his motherfucking ass. Because one thing for certain, two things for sure, there are a handful of people from the Kennedy family, regardless of what their last name currently is, we know who's associated with Kennedy family and who isn't, that says shit and does shit for the simple fact of the matter that people will rock with them because they're Kennedys. This is why last time Trump tried to cozy up and surround himself with legacy names from the GOP. It's just they were more loyal to country than they would ever be to Trump's goofy ass. Kennedy's comments come on the heels of the statements he made at a press conference on April 16th when he claimed that autism destroys families. Jesus Christ. Is he okay? I don't believe my family has been destroyed. I mean, I'll check with Babe after this podcast, but I don't think the family has been destroyed because I'm autistic. These are kids who will never pay taxes. Who the fuck gets to get out of paying taxes? Because if my autism means I ain't got to pay no more taxes, am I still going to be? No, because I'm not going to be represented because y'all barely represent me now. But you know what? No taxes, no representation. That's a good trade-off. That's a good trade-off. Just realize if I'm not represented, I'm not following the bullshit laws. But I digress. Where can I sign up, put down on the dotted line, my autism is my get out of taxes free card? They'll never hold a job. Somebody needs to tell my schedule that I'm not supposed to be holding down a job. Somebody tell my schedule that I'm not supposed to be holding down a job. They'll never play baseball. Well, I don't want to. Have you met me? I'll watch. I'm not playing. They'll never write a poem. I've written several. Actually, I think I owe y'all some spoken word here lately. They'll never go on a date. That's awkward. I guess I got to tell him we ain't never been on a date. Some refunds need to happen. Many of them will never use a toilet unassisted, he added. The fuck I've been doing all these years? I always thought I was unassisted. Is there like a special toilet ghost, toilet spirit, toilet apparition, invisible CNA? Is it Casper, the friendly home health aide that's been going in there helping me? What the fuck is going on? The comment sparked outrage among autism advocates, with many arguing that Kennedy's words promoted outdated and harmful rhetoric about people with the neurodevelopment condition. Okay, first of all, media, that's where you fucked up. That's where you fucked up. Because when somebody says something against the Black community, you don't say advocates and allies for the Black community say this. No, you go and you talk to Black people, usually just a select few, but you still do. If somebody says something disparaging about the Asian diaspora, you don't go, advocates. No. So why didn't you reach out to actual autistic people? Because you don't realize what you're doing. You don't realize to see what you're doing by that. You're low-key agreeing with him while high-key trying to look like you're standing on the right side of history. Allison Singer, president of the Autism Science Foundation, told CNN that Kennedy's comments made it sound like these were people whose lives were worthless, when that couldn't be further from the case. Comedian Rosie O'Donnell, whose 12-year-old child, Clay, has autism, wrote that Kennedy should be ashamed of himself on an April 17th Instagram post. A CDC study published on April 15th reported that 1 in 31 children in America will be diagnosed with autism by the age of 8, an increase from the past 2 decades. However, experts widely agree that the increase in autism rates over time is not actually because more people are developing this disorder. Instead, doctors are merely getting better at correctly identifying autism as diagnostic tools become more sophisticated, per NBC News. Parents shouldn't pay. And here's the thing. Just like with everything in life, there's levels to autism. Everybody's autism it is as unique as you are as an individual. Everybody has this picture in their mind of what autism is supposed to look like, what it's supposed to sound like. No, absolutely not. But like I said, when listening to him, he's not describing autism. He's describing untreated, undervaccinated polio. It is what it is. Now there was all right. There is a University of Cincinnati student that is suing, claiming that their visa status was terminated despite them having no past convictions. Yeah, this is, oh, they're only going after the criminal. No, the fuck they're not. That was never the intent. Never, 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 never. Real quick. Yes, COVID is still a thing. Yes, there are 2 different variants of the flu going around right now. Monkeypox is a thing. Polio is making a comeback. Measles is making a comeback. And guess what else? E. coli. Coming from the Mirror US, FDA caught covering up massive E. coli outbreak affecting 15 states. Of course they are. The federal government is working on a skeleton crew. Because we are this close to going back to a time where farmers were putting all sorts of things into their milk to just make it look white, even though it may not have been properly pasteurized, may not be white. And they used to put formaldehyde in the milk to cover up the spoiled smell, because they'll just keep trying to sell you the shit until it actually sells, whether it's good and fresh or not. This is what happens. Yay. Oh, and all of these cuts that they're making, they haven't saved any money. This administration has outspent every other administration for the past 20 years. And no, we're not even a full year into this fucking administration. Kudos. We winning yet? What are we winning? What is the prize that we're winning? What's the prize that we're winning? The Food and Drug Administration has been accused of quietly covering up an E. coli outbreak linked to lettuce that led several to get sick, nearly killing 2 more across 15 states. An internal report from February obtained by NBC News found that the federal agency closed an investigation into the matter without either informing the public or disclosing what companies produced the infected romaine lettuce, letting them off the hook for the fatal outbreak. Fears have further surged about food safety after multiple federal health officials told CBS News that the Food and Drug Administration plans to outsource routine food and safety inspections. I told y'all. The major change would likely require a congressional push to fund, and the FDA denied the accusation. I want you to keep in mind the last time we left things up to folks, because I'm not saying every farmer is a scammer. Absolutely not. There are outliers to everything. And we know that there are people horrible within every career field. There are people who get into career fields with horrific intentions. And these are the same people who don't like the rules and regulations because they don't give a damn if they start a pandemic or an epidemic. They just want that money. They're not thinking about long-term profits. They're just thinking about short-term gains. And they remember there was a time where people would put formaldehyde, all sorts of things in milks, in cheeses, to just be able to sell it to you. They just have to let it look good long enough for money to get into their hand and you scurry off with the product. It also comes after the Trump administration weakened the Water Safety Act, which could increase the likelihood of polluted waters. For all of y'all that think that a reduction in regulations is a good thing, let us not forget the last time he rolled shit back and trains couldn't stay on the fucking tracks. At least one person has died and two were nearly killed, including a 9-year-old Indiana boy who nearly died of kidney failure and a 57-year-old Missouri woman who got sick after a funeral luncheon. There's so many questions I have regarding that, but given the story that I'm reading right now, I'm going to have to put a pin in those questions and come back to it at another time. The FDA argued in the report that the companies did not need to be named because the lettuce was no longer available once investigators launched a probe. Since the fuck when? So they sold it all? So we don't need to have a recall? So you're saying because they sold all of did they sell it all and go out of business? Did they sell it all and decide never to buy from that farm again? Did they sell it all and verify that everybody ate everything? And how did they sell it all and it all was used? Did they sell it all to a school, sell it all to an amusement park? Did they sell it all to a restaurant? Where the fuck did it go, Martha Mayhew? Hopefully they sold it all to the Pentagon. And sorry to those people that ain't full of shit over at the Pentagon, but while admitting that the outbreak caused one death, the report explicitly stated that there were no public communications related to this outbreak. No shit, fucking sure. I'm finding it. I'm finding it. I'm finding it. It is not mandatory for the agency to disclose all information about foodborne disease outbreaks. However, a former FDA leader believes that the decision reflects a turning point in the agency as it has grown more transparent in recent years in response to growing public concern about food contamination. So now they're saying, we ain't got to tell you shit. As long as we know that it's happening, we don't have to tell you. Okay, if you're trying to roll back help for the disabled, the sickly, the elderly, and you're not going to tell anybody about foodborne contamination, which means you're going to eliminate the healthy, who the fuck is going to be left to create your products, your services, and who's going to be left to purchase them? I want to know how this business model is supposed to work out. Because what is the point of having all these trade wars and worrying about the price of things if all you're going to do is turn this planet into a Mad Max sequel with only 3 motherfuckers left on it? Where's Doubling down on its initial report, the spokesperson added, by the time investigators had confirmed the likely source, the outbreak had already ended and there was no actionable advice for consumers. So you said nothing and investigated while this contaminated food ran its course through society? Ooh, Lady Liberty and his children. We in danger, girl. We in danger. We in danger. We we in we in danger. Hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. Coming from the Irish Star, Kash Patel used FBI jet paid for by taxpayers to attend UFC and 2 NHL games. Why not? Because the POTUS, instead of driving an hour while he was not at the White House uh, to go see UFC, he took Air Force One. Like, what we want to keep telling people, oh, we're cutting costs and we're eliminating unnecessary spending and fraud, and but we're really going to do the fraud and we're just going to keep spending because official business. And remember, they're anti-work from home. But Kash Patel said he's predominantly going to work from home in Las Vegas. I don't know how you run a whole fucking agency like the fucking BI from home, but what the fuck what do I know? Kash Patel reportedly used the FBI's fleet of aircraft for his own personal use, which includes watching sporting events. Oh, the fleet. So somebody getting flued out for Patelli. Okay. 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 Pimp named Patel. A pimp named Patel. I don't know who the fuck gonna let him touch him, but somebody, yeah. No wonder he wanted this position so bad. They won't. They're just making up perks as they go along. Okay. Patel is the director of the FBI, the ninth in the Bureau's history, having previously served as the director of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives from February to April 2025. As the director of the FBI, the 45-year-old, he's 45. He for real? Okay. The 45-year-old was spotted in New York to watch Wayne Gretzky's goal-scoring record toppled by Alex Ovechkin. Sorry, I struggle with that name. My apologies. Patel's private jet use is the latest bizarre move by the Trump administration, days after his deranged 184-word Easter message taking aim at his enemies. So nobody's doing their actual fucking job. Nome is getting her purse stolen to the point where somebody was able to get close enough to her that they were able to take their foot, scoot the purse close to them, and people sat there and watched it enough to be able to tell about it afterwards and ran off with a bunch of money and everything else. And she's flying back and forth, taking photo ops with people who are currently being detained after being human trafficked. The fuck? Pete Hegseth is trying to impress his wife, his friends, and his brother by sending them classified information that was sent to him over classified channels in signal chat groups, and he just keeps making more signal chat groups. His kids look like today and yesterday was the only days that they've ever seen him in their whole fucking life. He hired his brother to do what? We don't know. He's supposed to be a liaison, but really all he's doing is making podcasts, but we're gonna get back into that a little bit later. Like, what the fuck is going on? And nobody, okay, you know what? Yeah. The FBI director was spotted at UFC 314 with Donald Trump, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and a bevy of other members of the president's inner circle as they watched the fight right in Miami. That's what I was talking about, where Trump decided to take Air Force One. He was down in Mar-a-Lago. That said, the New York Times reported that Patel used the FBI's private aircraft to travel to New York to watch the historic game. It comes after Trump was branded the dumbest president ever for a shocking 6-word geography comment. I can't. Oh yeah, her government badge, $3,000, and her excuse for having the $3,000 in cash is her whole family was there, so she was taking them out to dinner and Easter activities and getting Easter gifts. Now I don't know who gives gifts on Easter. Maybe people do. I don't know. But if your whole family is there, $3,000 ain't gonna cover all of that. So what the fuck would you about to pay for at that point? And how does someone, the director of Homeland Security, with security seat, like, how does somebody get upstairs wearing an N95 mask, get close enough to you where they just put their foot out and just scoot your purse over and walk? And once again, people said, hey, this is what y'all hate that woman so. I mean, I understand hating her that much, but y'all didn't say shit till the deed was done. And here's my biggest question: how the fuck did they know to target her bag? Who snitched on how much she had in cash that they would be able to run off with it and it not be traced back because it's cash once again? Like how, like, because most of the time you would think, oh, they would be using a card, or they would be charging it to this agency, that agency. No, this person didn't steal nobody else's shit in the whole place. Knew exactly where she was because she was upstairs, went upstairs, got past security, and just take her. Because thinking she wasn't sitting at the table by herself. I guess you like it. I love it. Now, before we get into this, no, yeah, let's go ahead and get into Pete Hegseth. If I have to do a bonus tomorrow, I'll do a bonus tomorrow. Now, there are multiple videos regarding this in detail on this channel and over on TikTok if you want to do that. I'm just giving you the filler information in between so you can understand exactly the gravity of what's going on. This is not the same as the signal chat that the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic was a part of. This is because we know that the security advisor is the one that created that one. Then they blamed it on a staffer. This is a separate chat, and evidently there might be a couple more that was created by Pete Hegseth himself. Okay. Now the information was sent to Hegseth on a secure channel. We don't know if he did a copy and paste, if he did a screenshot, if he just wrote down the information and decided to write it to other people, but he did. Now, Hegseth claims that the information was not classified, but it was logistical information. And then he went on to say, and I quote, that he's, and I quote, for the warriors and the president. No denial, but I'm for the president and the warriors that you're trying to eliminate. But I guess. Now, like I said before, there are multiple signal chats. This is coming out more and more. It's also being said that there have been shouting matches within Hegseth's office. He does not trust a lot of most of the Pentagon employees, whether civilian or military based, because, well, when you're not qualified, you act like you can't trust nobody. He thinks that people are just supposed to be loyal to him because he sucks up to Trump. No, you're not qualified, and you're putting people's lives in danger. He refuses to listen to advisors. And now the one thing I do agree with him on is that he believes that Musk's Doge cuts would hinder the workflow. I do agree with him on that. I'm surprised he recognized that, but you know what they say about a clock and 2 times a day. So, now this second signal chat, like I said before, was created by Hegseth. It included family and friends of Hegseth. Now, do you remember there have been one snippet of a video that's been circulating quite a bit since yesterday, where Hegseth talks about leakers that were disgruntled and fired. Let's talk about those leakers, okay? Because you may not have remembered when I talked about the story before. These leakers were people that he brought into the fold. These were close advisors to him. These were close friends to him. People that he's been around, that he's been close to, that he's worked with, that he's been friends with for decades, multiple decades. And here's the thing. If you know that you fired some leakers, why wouldn't you tighten up shit? If they're leaking that you're doing this shit on Signal, that you're losing your shit in the office, why wouldn't you tighten it up immediately? He thinks like, oh, if I don't deny or confirm, it'll go away. No. Like, this is why I say just because somebody's in the military doesn't mean that they're a good leader. I need y'all to get off of that. Oh, I'm going to vote for this person because they're a vet, or oh, I'm going to vote for this person because they're active duty. No. And I'm not saying there aren't great leaders in the military. I'm not saying that there aren't veterans who have gone on to do some incredible things for this country, incredible things for their family, their communities. Not saying that at all. What I'm saying is I'm tired of people just being able to go, I was in the military, and everybody's like, yes, vote them in the office. They're going to be the greatest leader ever. Yeah. No. No. First of all, the same positions you can have outside the military, you can have inside the military. Some of y'all are sitting here putting all your hopes and dreams on somebody thinking that they're the greatest strategic mind. Meanwhile, they were a journalist in the military and never saw any bit of combat. They don't know how to put shit together. Okay. They went into journalism in the military because it was the easiest way to get a journalistic education. And I don't knock them for that. But y'all have to stop equating military with everybody being a general and everybody being a tactical genius and no, you have heads and you have people who take leadership from the heads. Most people don't get into, 4-star general range, etc. They don't. You can guarantee somebody got sometimes nerves of steel and they can follow directions. And that's no hate. It's the truth. It's like somebody who's worked for a company for 50 years, but has never been in management. They can learn a routine. They can learn how to do something. They can follow directions. That does not mean that they can manage the whole fucking department. And that's okay. Now, Hegseth relayed in Signal information that was provided to him via secure channels. Upon confirmation, if you all remember, Pete Hegseth said, and I quote, accountability starts now. Although he is shucking and jiving accountability. And also, if you recall, before somebody comes in here and going, don't make any jokes about him drinking. He said that he was going to stop drinking. No, the fuck he didn't. No, the fuck he didn't. Go back. Go into the archive, go back and rewatch his confirmation hearing. Go back and listen to what he promised to do. And on top of the Signal debacle, let's not forget that he keeps going onto Twitter. Yes, I know what his adoptive stepdaddy calls it. We call it what his mama named it. And to prove that he's a hard boy doing good work, he keeps displaying on Twitter unreleased memos. And y'all do realize through all of this, they keep claiming victories over the Houthis, but there isn't any. The Houthis are holding their own. The Houthis are not being defeated. They're holding their own. Makes me wonder. Okay, once again, it's been reported that Pete Hegseth is not listening to his aides. There is a lot of bureaucratic backlogs because he doesn't really know how to run anything. Remember, he fucked up organizations where he was in charge of 20 people. Let me repeat, he fucked up organizations where he was just in charge of 20 people. But you know what? I'm a fair individual. Let's talk about his accomplishments in this role of SecDef, okay? Let's talk about his accomplishments. What has Pete Hegseth accomplished in this time? Hiring his brother to be a liaison, but it seems like the only thing his brother does is produce podcasts. And yes, that brother was in this Signal chat. He's renamed military bases back to shit that it shouldn't be named of, and sometimes being slick about it and really not naming anything back, pulling books from military libraries on bases, erasing history and trying to erase people, places, and things from military history, but not even carrying out the things that Trump wants him to carry out. And also, word on the curb is although Trump has been very vocal about supporting Hegseth and standing by Hegseth, which we heard that about Matt Gaetz when he was in the running for Attorney General, and it was presented as if, it was solely Matt Gaetz' decision to step down. We know that's baloney, hawk shit, bullshit. Yeah, that means nothing. Trump's over it. And to further cement that, coming from the Associate Press, as controversies pile up, Trump allies increasingly turn on one another. I never thought the lepers would eat my face. Oh, I never thought. The infighting and backstabbing that plagued President Donald Trump's first term have returned as a threat to his second, with deepening fissures over trade, national security, and questions of personal loyalty. First of all, personal loyalty should never be a question when we're talking about politics within the United States. Politics anywhere, but since we're in the United States, let's focus there. And did y'all think that the infighting and the under the bus throwing wasn't going to take place in Trump administration 2.0? The latest turmoil threatens to engulf the Pentagon, where Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has pushed out top advisors and faces fresh controversy over sharing sensitive information about airstrikes in Yemen outside of classified channels. A former Pentagon spokesperson who was ousted last week wrote in Politico that Trump should fire Hegseth for presiding over a full-blown meltdown. Now, here's this. People keep saying that Pete Hegseth included certain family members and certain friends in order to impress them. I think y'all need to stop compartmentalizing real life away from certain people due to their professions. Pete Hegseth is a serial cheater. The wife that he has now used to be his mistress, and she got an upgrade. Now, I am not body shaming. I'm not making any commentary on her, but if you were to look at them, would you put them together? No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. But when you're in the public eye, sometimes you got to bite the bullet for who you want. He is putting certain people in these group chats because his wife doesn't trust him. This is the equivalent of, I don't care that that's for your job. This don't be a joint account, Tyrone. Byron, I need to have the password to your phone because you done cheated too many times. Because this is why it took so long to get out. Nobody really gives a fuck about the information that's in there. Unless there's somebody in there that's willing to sell the information and give it up. But the wife doesn't care. He's not trying to impress his wife. He's trying to show his wife that he ain't banking no hottie from the Pentagon. Especially given the reputation of the first Trump administration. Let's not forget about the date right stuff. Guy that's all over social media doing everything but promoting his dating app for conservatives. He was formerly with the Trump administration, and it's been well documented that he did a whole lot of inappropriate stuff and that he was basically supplying the White House, the West Wing, with women. Hegseth lashed out on Tuesday on Fox News Channel, where he was a weekend host before joining Trump's administration, by faulting the people who used to work for him. Those folk who are leaking, who are being pushed out of the building, are now attempting to leak and sabotage the president's agenda, he said. So your buddies, your friends that you thought were so loyal, so qualified, so all of these things, now all of a sudden, because they're not going to play along to get along, everybody is not willing to go down with the Titanic and do prison time. Like, first of all, I don't know why y'all would have wanted to get in bed. I take that back. I do know why people would have wanted to get in bed with Trump after the first Trump administration, because some people just took it too far. They did not whip out their evidence quick enough. Because like I said, everybody keeps something when they get into the sphere of Trump. They keep it something that's going to be either reduce my time in jail card or a get out of jail free card. But like I keep saying, there are multiple power grabs, multiple coups going on at the same time with Trump. And Trump is too stupid and too egocentric to even catch what's going on. That's why he's not catching world leaders disrespecting him and getting exactly what they want out of him and letting him posture all over the place. And the only ones that are getting it are the ones that view what wealth and power is through the TV screen. But the only way a power grab is going to work is if you're qualified for the job. Like, look at Emil Bovey. Emil Bovey has the biggest power grab going on right now because he's sitting back and he's chilling. He's using Trump and Pam Bondi as a smokescreen, and we don't know what the fuck he's fervently doing behind the scenes. We don't know. But the interpersonal drama is not, at least yet, a dominant plot line of Trump's return to the White House. Yes, it is. But it has reemerged after a period of relative discipline in the rank. What discipline? Reflects a turbulent management style that has been suppressed or papered out, not reformed. I'm gonna need y'all to start being completely honest in your reporting. Like, y'all really getting on my nerves. When has there been discipline? First of all, they told Elise Stefanik, like, hey, we were going to make you ambassador, but we can't. We need you to keep your seat on Capitol Hill. What the hell did that bitch do? She was like, maybe I can run for governor or mayor or something. Like, what the fuck? There is no discipline. Absolutely not. But as always, thank you for joining me here. More than likely, we'll probably do a midday catch up tomorrow. I'm not sure. Tomorrow is Wednesday. Things get a little crazy. Do not forget, if you are not subscribed to my Substack, make sure that you are subscribed. If you are wanting to expand upon your anti-racism journey, information, history videos and stuff that is over on Substack, you get more for your bang. When you do the paid subscription, that's just $8 a month. So just to let you know. If you do a whole year up front, you get 2 months free, to let you know. Also, for those of y'all that was asking for the nasty After Dark stories, linked in my bio is Taz After Dark. There's one story up there, so y'all take a look. Let me know. Give me some feedback. If you want me to continue, I will continue. If not, we'll drop it like it's hot. Also, keep in mind, there is also the short form podcast, and there's an additional podcast over on Substack as well that is audio only. So, like I said, thank you for joining me here. I will see you all again back here on Thursday. I will see you over on TikTok tomorrow at 9 p.m. for Savage Inequalities. And as always, each one teach one, each one reach one.
Fuck Donald Trump.